Hello there. Well, just thought I'd give you a little synopsis of my life today. So it's sort of an introduction as to where all these video diaries are going and the stories that will unfold, because I've been through quite a lot, and with this lockdown I'm realizing I'm actually in a really good place in my life and it's time to share my story. So what have we gone through at the age of 12? Had my head threatened to be chopped off by somebody I trusted. At 13, my elder sister, who was my godmother, she passed away. At the same time, I was dealing with my sexuality and the feelings that I had. Went through high school pretty much numbed my way through it with marijuana. Went to university, did a year at university in Teachers College, then dropped out, took a year out, and went to London for 23 years. Did a diploma in sound engineering, but couldn't do sound engineering because I pretty much ran away from New Zealand. So I didn't have any support, and ended up getting a job in a restaurant where the money was good. And then from 88 to 94, just enjoyed being free, living my life, taking lots of drugs, partying quite heavy, working hard. Developing a bit of a amphetamine problem with ecstasy and coke, and then in 94 I was labelled HIV, and at this time everybody was dropping like flies, people were dying everywhere, people weren't sharing drink bottles or cutlery, and I was given 2 years to live. So I had a complete breakdown, got given a flat as you do in the UK, and I was inside for 6 months. Just pretty much did not leave the house. Was in a bad state, didn't open the curtains, built up all the strength to go across the road at the day before the corner shop shut, to buy me cigarettes and me milk and me coffee and whatever. And that was my existence. It was pretty pitiful, pretty sad. I just shut off from everybody. And then I decided I needed to get a bit of a little part-time job just to get my way out, because it's like I have to start working, I have to do something. And then the next big thing happened when I was actually drugged, raped and tortured for 14 hours. So that was pretty big, but then I disconnected from that. I'll go into that in more details on all of this some other time. Disconnected from that for 12 years, but after that I went on to the antiretroviral medication. Vowed I'd never touch AZT, and I'm glad I didn't. So I was in and out of hospital with different illnesses, or what I see now as side effects from the different drugs that I was on. And I also had 3 suicide attempts. I attempted to take my life. One time I was nearly almost sectioned and locked up. And another time I actually escaped from hospital and ran away and sat on the beach in Thailand for two months, deciding whether I wanted to live or die and what I was going to do with the rest of my life. And then I retrained into health and fitness and massage in 2002, came off the antidepressants in 2003, and hey ho, we don't want to kill ourselves anymore. And then throughout the 2000s, I was rebuilding my life and getting everything together. In 2007, I set up a company called We Treat, in which I took spiritual adventure holidays in the south of France, which were really cool and I loved them. But at the same time, lots was going on. I was starting to get, with my clients, I was getting lots of images from spirits and stories from spirit, and I was sort of like, I was crossing over into other dimensions, and I was just not too sure what was going on. And I wasn't managing the company very well, because I didn't know how to ask for help. And then I met somebody who brought up a lot of, sometimes when I'm working with people, I'm feeling into the energies or the traumas that are trapped in their body. I went out with the only client I've ever gone out with, and it was actually a reflection. His trauma that he was holding on to that was causing his bodily pains were actually a reflection of my trauma. And when I connected with the rape after 12 years, about 3 months later I came down with chronic fatigue, which dropped me. I was almost in tears. I was in tears every day. I couldn't work. I dropped down from 30 clients a week down to 15. I had no social life, and I just went down all the routes with all the different diets. We're going vegan, vegetarian, elimination diets, no wheat, no this, no that, everything. Trying to find a solution. And then eventually I came back on holiday to New Zealand, and I took mum and dad out shopping, and I just thought, if I don't come home now, I never will. And 10 years ago I put the wheels in motion, and I came back to New Zealand, having thought that I would never return here. It was 12 years after I left, the first time that I ever came back. And I just reconnected with my family, and it was a chance to actually take care of mum. And she was her mind was at rest with a little boy at home. I'm the baby of the family by 7 years. And that was when I also discovered Vipassana. So I've been on 10 Vipassanas, which has been a lot of healing done through the meditation. And then last year my mother passed away, and I was a celebrant at her funeral, and I felt her soul I felt the expansion of her death and the continuation of life. And when I was in about 2007, and I decided that I wanted to live, I phoned up mum as my commitment, and was quite concerned when I came back to New Zealand that if mum died being a little mummy's boy, that I wouldn't last much longer. So I'm quite very grateful and blessed with the whole way it transpired and played out, and I feel very blessed that I was able to be there for my mum and hold her when she passed and be the celebrant at her service. So now it's like the new beginning, 2020. When I turned 50, it felt like I've lived my life. It's time to actually thrive and start, not saying I've lived, I've gone through all the dramas, and here I am. So I feel like my life's about to take off. I'm about to put all the work that I've done together to, I forgot to say that when 4 years ago I went to John of God in Brazil to do some spiritual work. Went for 2 weeks, stayed for 3 months, ended up catching toxoplasmosis, nearly losing my eyesight, so I had brain inflammations and a stroke, and as a result can't really read or write. So yeah, it's hindered a lot of me in a lot of different ways as well, but I'll talk about that later too. So there's been a lot of reasons as to why I've not actually pulled it together and shared my story, but there's a brief little rundown of what we've gone through and what's to come. So really grateful, really blessed. Thank you for listening, thank you for being here, and I look forward to sharing more again. All the best, lots of love.